All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So it's been a little while since we posted a video, but this one is something that I have been very excited about to get. It did arrive while I was away for the holidays, and I'm just getting around to taking a look at it now. This is obviously, as you can see, MENG's latest Apache release. Seems like 2023 was the year of the Apache. So this is one of the latest, I don't know, like 6 kits that are available now. So this is obviously the AH-64D Saraf helicopter in Israeli service, and this actually is the special edition boxing of it. I believe this was an Asia only release, maybe a China only release. The only thing that's really unique about it is that it comes with these 2 pilots. They are resin, cast resin. They are included in the kit. You get the front sort of gunner guy, the guy in the back with the pilot. This is kit number QS-005S. The actual worldwide release will be QS-005. I was lucky enough to get this. Buddy picked it up at I think a hobby show in Beijing a couple of weeks back, so that's why it's here now. But yeah, so we'll take a look at the side of the box. I have been in the box to take a look just to make sure everything's in one piece. What's really nice about this is that it comes with these new Israeli anti-tank missiles. They're called the Spike missiles. Also have this data link pod that comes with it. All of the previously, if you wanted to build a 35th scale Saraf, your other option was the TACOM kit out of the box once again. But that kit did have some issues in terms of mostly with the instructions, just being a little unclear on color callouts and where certain stuff went, I think. But previously, using any of the other kits, you would have had to cut and add all of these little nodules or pieces or details, these fairings, sensors and such, the flare dispensers, by yourself. So you'd have to cut it apart, fill seams, add resin parts in. But this, everything is molded into the plastic. It is one thing, just build it out of the box and you'll have a Saraf helicopter. I won't really be able to comment on accuracy because I'm not an expert on this particular helicopter. But from what I've seen of the other main kit, I mean, it's generally regarded as being all right. I mean, some of the details in the cockpit may be a little off. I think someone was saying that the Israeli helicopters don't have the mount for the M4, but don't quote me on that. So without further ado, we'll get everything out of the box. We'll do as we usually do, take a look at the instructions, take a look at the decal sheet, the parts, then we'll take a look at the plastic, and then at the end, actually, special treat, we'll probably take a look at some aftermarket that is available for the Israeli Apache variant. Maybe not specifically designed for this kit, but you should be able to use those with little to no modification. So I'm gonna get the parts out and then we'll be right back. Okay, cool. So I have some of the kind of the manuals. There's the instruction manual, there's some reference on the Saraf, the painting guide laid out here. This all came in one bag, as well as the decals, the photo etch sheet right here, all were in another bag. We'll take a look at these in a minute. Also, in this limited release, you get the pilot figures, which you can see here. Kind of show you guys. These are the bodies, obviously. You can see they have the straps and harnesses all molded onto them. These are cast resin, so those look quite nice and sharply done. So those are the bodies. You get 2 heads, which are going to be hard to show. They're wearing the helmet. They have like the mic and the little eyepiece thing on both of them, as well as faces. So you can see those right there. And then these are obviously their arms. I'm not going to show these. These are pretty standard, nothing to really talk about there. But okay, so we'll take a look at the instructions first. This is the instruction manual. These are a couple, well, 3 kind of sort of like info cards on the Saraf in multiple languages. A little bit of a blurb, starts in Chinese, obviously. And then you have this page as well as this page. So yeah, take a look at the instructions first. Traditional booklet. If you have the other Apache kit, you'll be familiar with this. So straight into it, a little bit of a detail on how to build, and then straight in. So I won't go through all of this, but what I appreciate most about this instruction manual versus the other Saraf option is, yes, color callouts. That is going to be very helpful. From what I have seen, TACCOM's Apache kit may have left out some color callouts. So you're kind of on your own on trying to figure out what's what. But you're starting off with the cockpit, obviously pretty straightforward right there. Standard, adding in seat cushions. And I like how they have stuff color coded so that you can kind of see like what you're adding in the step. Also kind of a rough estimation of even what color it might be. So obviously the seats are going to be like this khaki green color or like a tan color. Then showing adding the seats and consoles into the tub, showing how to paint and decal the instrument panels right there. Again, more on the controls in the cockpit, adding decals. Again, color callouts throughout, color coded in the instructions to kind of show what you're adding to in each step. Standard there, more cockpit going in, constructing the inside of the rotor housing where the rotor shaft mounts there. Some holes to open up right there, so pay attention. Adding in an electronics bay should you wish to keep that open. And very nice detail on how to paint said instructions or said avionics or inspection bay right there. Another one on the other side, details right there going in the back. So yeah, showing closing up the fuselage, adding in the cockpit and also the actual rotor mount up there, adding stub wings, adding all the little lumps and bumps of the Israeli version right there, adding in the sponsons, again, detail showing how to paint the avionics bay, adding those in on the sides, again, showing how to paint the ammo in the loading side right there. Yeah, very clear, very concise, adding in some of the details on the back of the tail boom, starting on the engines, I believe. Yep, that's the engines. Again, adding in various details, hoses, pipes, all that. The exhausts, again, showing various color-coded instructions or color-coded kind of parts, sub-assemblies on how stuff goes together. So right there, the other engine housing, the nacelle itself, other engine. Again, a repeat on the other side, showing everything getting mounted to the fuselage. Standard stuff right there. And this is actually really nice. So we saw this in the other kit as well. This comes with a pre-cut set of masks. Hope you're listening to Mia. Pre-cut, so very easily be able to kind of unstick those and add those to your cockpit. So it shows you how to mask, I believe, I think that's the inside of the canopy before you add in details to help with I guess making sure that you don't get paint on the glass from the inside. So very nice option that MENG includes right there, showing adding in the glass, adding in the little, I guess it's an armored partition, little cable on the inside, and then again, showing you how to mask the doors inside and outside. So that is really nice right there, this little pull-out section of the instructions. Adding in the glass, should you wish to have it closed, the rotor kind of housing on the top, some antennas going in right there. Then adding in all the sensors. This is the kind of targeting sensor on the nose. All the lumps and bumps that come with the Israeli version are being detailed here. You can see nose-mounted electro-optical equipment right there. Landing gear, wheels, again, nice pre-cut masks. Landing gear legs going in, the chain gun on the front. More chain gun details, adding in the mount, the little ring assembly, adding the gun to the fuselage. Tail wheel, again, masks provided. Various details going in there. And then you have the fuselage parts, adding in more of the little lumps and bumps, adding in some kind of a flare dispenser, various antennas and such, adding in photo etch on top right there, the two strakes at the back. Yeah. Some more details on the other side, kind of a mirror copy of what we just looked at. And then you kind of get into some of the specific options for this version. So these are obviously the Spike anti-tank missiles right there, the specific pylons for them, adding in the launcher. So it's like a 4-box launcher of missiles, a very distinct shape. You actually see some of these being used in the recent conflict. So these are also, I believe, the large fuel tanks specific to the Israeli version. Nice that MENG has included those. Obviously the very familiar Hellfire. Check your references. There's been some interesting variants or interesting color schemes being used by the Israelis. You can Google that and see what they're flying around with. Adding in the stores to the various pylons, you have the anti-tank missiles, the spike missiles on that side, you have the Hellfire rack. This is the data link pod for those missiles over there. So it's nice that MENG has included that. This is the rotor head, that big radar assembly on top. The rotor blades, rotor head going together, adding that to the model. Tail rotor going together right there. And then adding everything together, and that's it. So in the end here, you have a parts map showing what you get. And it's kind of nice that everything is sort of laid out in this CAD artwork format, so you see exactly what the parts look like, rather than just being a line drawing, and sometimes it's a little hard to identify what's what. Only thing I'm seeing here that's a little bit not so great is there's no part numbers, so you get to see what the sprues look like, you just don't know what parts they are, which is not ideal, but at least you know there was supposed to be a part there and it's missing, so I know that now. But yeah, you can see that pre-cut mask set. We'll take a look in a minute. And then obviously the color callouts sheet, they have obviously the names of the colors in Chinese, English, Japanese, and Russian, I believe. And then also callouts in AK colors, as well as kind of gunsy acrylics. Use whatever you prefer. Blank page right there, and that's the end. So yeah, that's the instruction manual. This is again the little blurb book, little cards here. Then you have what I don't think is a full-size color paint sheet, but it is large, so you'll be able to see how the camouflage scheme actually works. You get some details on kind of the stub wings, the rotor head, the little nose, electro-optical sensor, showing where all the stenciling goes. There's quite a bit on it. So you get obviously 4 views, top, bottom, right, left, and then yeah, so not much really to talk about there, but this is very detailed, showing a lot of panel lines and details so you can line everything up perfectly. And then showing some detailed views of the Hellfires from the back, the actual tanks also, and then, yeah. So is it 2-sided? It is, yes, so you get, I believe, 2 different schemes. So yeah, that's that. And then you get the photo etch fret, which is very thin, so don't bend it. These are a couple of the strakes that go on the back. This looks like some kind of a brace or framework, but yeah, very thin. Don't lose that or bend it. This is the decal sheet and the mask set that comes with this. So these are super nice. They are pre-cut, and all the surrounding material has been already peeled off, so you know exactly what you have. Here's what you need. So wheel masks, tail wheel masks, and then interior and exterior of the glass. This is a very worthy addition in my opinion. Hopefully you're listening to me. Pre-cut. And then the decal sheet. So decal sheet is obviously, it's printed by Cartograph in Italy, so we're expecting greatness here. Everything sharply printed. You can see most, if not all, of these service stencils you will be able to read. It looks like they're mostly all in English. You have a little bit of creative dot matrix stuff right there, but most of the other big stuff, major stuff, you'll be able to read. I'm not sure if the Israelis have Hebrew stencils or if they're in English on the real aircraft, so don't quote me, but at least these are readable and it's not just all random squiggles. So quick little look around the sheet. These are some of the stencils for the weapons are obviously just creative white lines. Maybe some of that stuff is still classified, but markings for the spike missiles as well as the Hellfires. Looks like they give you a bunch of numbers, so you should be able to build pretty much any Saraf, I'm guessing. It's really roundels right there, some of the yellow markings. Yeah, so, and there's like a little sort of supplementary sheet here. I think that might go for the pilots, like the patches on their armbands. So yeah, that's the decals, the instructions, and the mask set. I'm gonna get some of this stuff out of the way, and then we will take a look at the parts. All right, so we're going to start with obviously the major parts of the kit. These are the fuselage halves. Again, if you've seen the other release of the MENG Apache, this will come as no surprise to you. Again, left and right halves. We'll take a quick look at these. Nothing really to point out except a lot of fantastic surface detail, raised rivets, Kitty Hawk. But yeah, so raised rivets, raised kind of all sorts of these stiffeners, hinges, hinge detail, everything very sharply molded, nothing really to call out here. Everything is sharp. The sprue attachment points are reasonably small. You have different size riveting too. You have small rivets, sort of bigger rivets near the front here, as well as maybe like medium rivets there. But yeah, so nothing really to talk about there. Everything very sharply done. No flash, no warpage, nothing. This one came with like a little foam thing on this side. Is missing on that side. I don't know if that's supposed to be there or not. But again, the inside, a lot of big, beefy mounting points for everything. This is how the fuselage mounts together. These giant locating pins here, or locating holes. So everything should line up very, very cleanly and efficiently right there. So again, nothing in here to really talk about. That's the right half. This is the left half right here. Again, same stuff, big pegs to mount the sponsons onto, so they should grab nicely and line up very well. Again, you have the open panel for the, I guess, some kind of an avionics port, but if you wish to close it, I'm told that the actual door fits pretty cleanly as well. Here's the locating pegs for the giant holes on the other side. So yeah, I'm going to talk about there again. Very, very nice raised detail and recessed panel lines right there. You can see some of it in the light. So nothing really to talk about. Again, these are the two sponsons, left and right. Obviously, it's nice that the actual bay detail itself is not a part of this. So you could kind of paint the sides of this, the bay, whatever the color is supposed to be, paint the detail separately, and then glue it in here so you're not trying to get in here at weird angles to try to paint cables and stuff like that. So I really like how MENG has done that for you. Again, raised and recessed detail, big rivets on top. You can see right there, recessed panel lines. These are the steps, I believe, for boarding. A little bit of a sprue attachment point there that you have to remove. This is the cutout for the wing. Get in here, you have these large mounting holes and tabs that will line up very, very nicely with the fuselage. You can see that slots in there. And then as soon as you glue that, there will be no trace of a seam at all. So that'll be very nice right there. So that's one, you can see how a press fit, even it holds itself in. So this is the kind of underbelly pan, or underbelly, maybe it's like a piece of armor or something, but I believe it fits somewhat like this down here. But this is again molded as a single piece. This is part BB1, but you can see raised panels and kind of stiffeners and plates and stuff like that. No flash whatsoever. The riveting detail carries very nicely through these curves as well. So nicely done there. This, I'm not sure exactly what this is. This was also in the same bag as these items. There's only one of them, but I believe this is some kind of a sensor. You can see something probably goes in here, maybe a flare, chaff, like a dispenser of some sort. And then you can see raised detail on that. These stiffeners or kind of mounting points right there. So very cleanly done. Nothing really to complain about or really call out. If you've seen any of the other MENG helicopter or MENG Apache kits, this is no different. These parts are exactly the same. I'm gonna pull out some of the other bigger parts or the other sprues now, and we'll go through those. All right, before we look at the other parts, I was putting these away and I honestly just wanted to see how it would go together. So I kind of press fitted everything together. You can see everything fits very nicely already. You can see that belly pan piece in here just sits in there, drops in, and then these two sponsons sort of lock it in together. But I have the sponsons just as a press fit, also the fuselage as a press fit too. You can already see that this middle seam right here is almost non-existent. If I was to clean up the mating surfaces a little bit more and then just apply a nice bead of cement, I think I'd be okay there. That back here, you have a big giant thing that covers this area, so nothing to worry about there. And then back here, I have to check references, but I don't know if there's actually a seam or like a panel line running down the bottom here. If there is, I mean, you could just essentially glue it in and it'll be fine. Don't pay attention to this. I'd have to remove these two kind of sprue gates for this to line up properly, so don't worry about that. This seam is covered by a piece, this is covered by a piece, and I believe there's something that goes over this as well. This is where the rotor housing goes, and then obviously the cockpit goes in here. There's a piece that covers this part, and then the nose electro-optical targeting device goes on the front, so nothing to worry about there. But everything else, these sponsons fit perfectly. Those big locating tabs kind of pull everything together and kind of suck it in and make sure that nothing is loose. And then again, there's essentially no seam there. So a little bit of glue in there and you'll be just fine. So I'm gonna put this away now, and then we're gonna look at the other sprues. Okay, so we'll start with sprue A, obviously. The parts here essentially make up some of the, like you can see, the tail surfaces, the kind of interior plate for mounting the rotor assembly, as well as kind of this large antenna fairing that goes on the bottom of the tail boom, as well as the avionics bays and these little kind of open panels that you can have as options. So we'll take a look at those. Again, this is the same parts as the other Apache kit. So if you've seen that, nothing new here. Again, very nicely molded detail. It's nice. Again, I was calling out that these are molded separately than the actual bay. So you can paint the bay, whatever the bay color is, probably a zinc chromate color or primer color. Then you can paint these boxes, which are probably black with white or silver or natural metal cabling. And then you can get into various angles around here without having to try to do it in a molded recessed space. And then just weather it, clean it up, get the parts off the sprues. Well, get off the sprues before you paint it, but paint them up, then glue them into the bays, nice and clean. No need to worry about that. So again, same with these. Molded kind of switchology in here. This one's pretty bland. I don't know if it's supposed to look like that or there's supposed to be stuff that goes in here, but just showing that off right there. The tail surfaces obviously have molded raised details and some recessed panel lines. Again, same as the rest of the airframe, very cleanly molded. I would probably cut these kind of static whips off and replace them with something thinner. These do look a little thick, and I'm guessing I'll probably break those off at some point. This plate, nothing to really talk about there, just a nice straight plate to keep the top of the fuselage stiff. This is that kind of fairing antenna or something like that that goes on the bottom of the tail boom, and it'll cover up a good section of that seam. Other than that, this is some of the ammo, I guess one of the sections that you'd be able to see. You can see very nicely molded detail on that, on the, I guess the guide that keeps the rounds straight there. Cool, so that's sprue A. Next, sprue B was the sponsons and that bottom plate thing. This is sprue C. So these are obviously the very distinctive stub wings, which differ quite significantly from the US Apache, in that they have these sort of flare and shaft dispenser buckets on the back here that are kind of faired into the wing at this cool angle. So yeah, wings are top and bottom halves. You'll have to do a little bit of cleanup on the seams right there. But again, previously you'd have to, in any other conversion or for 48 scale, if you ever built a Hasegawa kit with the Israel decal conversion, you'd have to chop the wings apart and add these as details, which resulted in cleanup and just a mess. These are all molded together and should result in a very pleasant build experience. This, I believe, is the data pod for the Spike missiles that goes on one of the wings. If you choose that loadout, this is a little arm it mounts to, and it mounts on the end of one of the wings. And then these are the covers for those avionics bays or electronics bays on the rear fuselage, one left, one right. And then this is the nose, the cover that goes on top of the nose in front of the electro-optical sensor. Again, it's got some devices that have to mount to the ends here. You can see where they go. And then various details, you can see these are also part of those specific Israeli Apache conversion parts right there. Everything very cleanly molded. You can see raised detail. Obviously, there's a little bit of debris there. Rivets of different sizes, which is nice to not always have the same size. pre-drilled mounting holes for pylons, which is nice. It's less for you to forget. These are the kind of leading edges of the wings right there. So actually, if you're careful, you may actually avoid a lot of cleanup if you trim these off the sprues carefully and then clean up the parts carefully. And then I'm guessing a lot of these parts probably line up on panel lines, so that is nice. So that is sprue C. Next we have sprue D. This is some of the exhaust parts, I believe. Yeah, you can see some of the grates here for the exhausts. If you're not keen on doing this stuff here, Kopecky Scale Models, I believe is his full company name, makes a set of exhausts for the MENG Apache. That single piece, wonderfully detailed. Look up his site and see about ordering those. These are parts, I believe, for the nose sort of electro-optical targeting system. This is the landing gear legs right there. They do have, let me see, they do have a little bit of a seam going down, obviously lengthwise where the mold is separated, but a little bit of scraping, sanding with a sponge, I think you'll be okay there. Nothing crazy to worry about. The kind of the shock absorbers also same situation. Just a little quick flyby of the parts. I won't go into super detail on all those. These are some of the wire cutters that go on the gear. I won't go into super detail on all of these. You can take a look at what is here and then decide for yourself if this is something that you want. Okay, so that's sprue D. I'm gonna unpack the other parts and I'll be right back. Okay, so next up we have sprue E, which came in a bag with this. This is the cover that goes on top of the tail boom. It also hides a large portion of that seam, so this is nice. Just one little sprue attachment here, clean this up carefully and then slide it right in, save you some cleanup. Sprue E looks like a lot of the engine nacelle parts. So you have kind of the front little intake piece here, and then you have the actual nacelle body. This is the part that goes on top that kind of finishes out the rotor housing. These are part of the intake area. This is another part of the nacelle. This is the rear part where I think the exhausts come out. But again, all these parts have very nice raised riveting detail, which I think is critical for this. It just doesn't look right with recessed. Nice deeply molded vents there. Would have been nice to see those actually molded through, but I'm sure if you really wanted to have them through, you could thin this out from the back and then kind of cut them through. But I think if you throw a dark wash in there, I think you'll be okay. Close up on some of the kind of the radiator or like the grill detail on the inside of that. Very clean, very nicely done. These are some of the kind of angle of attack probes, I think, that go on the outside. We'll close up on that. Yeah, so that's sprue E and a little extra part that goes with it. Next we have sprue F, which in the bag also included this. This is the other part of the kind of the very distinctive round radar that goes on top of the rotor. So the other parts of that are obviously down here. You'd have to put that together for a multi-piece assembly. I don't think it's a single piece in real life. I think there are seams on it, so check your references. Rotor head right there, very cleanly molded. A lot of nice details on that. It is in a top and bottom half, it looks like, or I guess the bottom half has other pieces that go onto it. This is the actual rotor shaft, yes. So this will go through this. This is also in halves, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. Some of the other components that go to the rotor head. Again, I won't go into super detail on this, just kind of a look at the parts for you. Parts of the actual radar. This is the bottom, I believe, some of the vents. Very nicely molded, great detail on that. And then rotor head again from the other side. Yeah, so that is sprue F along with that part. Next we go to sprue G, which we start getting into some ordnance, which is weird because we haven't gotten to the cockpit yet. But this sprue is a carryover from the other kit, I think. These are the Hellfires, as well as the multi-shot rocket pods, as well as the kind of the launchers for the Hellfires. So Hellfires are in halves, which is not ideal. You have to do some cleanup on those. You do get, I think you get 8 of them. So you can have Hellfires on both sides if you want. You get 2 full racks. You can have these multi-shot rocket pods. You have kind of the open end right there. You have the tail end with the fuses on that side. These are the fins for the rockets, or for the Hellfires. So yeah, sprue G, nothing special there. Same carryover from the other kit. Next we have sprue H, and you get two sprue H's, obviously, because you have to have 4 rotor blades. So we'll take a look at one. This is another hatch for the rear fuselage. I don't know which ones you'd be using. Check your references. These are the actual rocket fronts. So if you wanted to have a loaded rocket pod, you'd have to use one of these, and they would poke through. 2 different kinds of rockets, I think. One of these has a kind of longer, pointier tip. The other one has a flat tip. These are the rotor actual blade mounts here that mount to the rotor head, and the blades themselves. Blades themselves have a little bit of detail at the back here, some stiffening, a little bit of reinforcement plate at the front. That does have raised rivets on those. Again, these, I don't know if they're a little overscale or not. They look a little thick. I would guess in real life they're much thinner, more like a wire almost. So check your references on that. You may want to chop this off and replace it with something a little bit more in scale. And yeah, so some little accessories here for various detail parts. You can see, do a quick fly around of those, and then yeah. So obviously you get 2 of these sprue H's right there. All right. Next, we get into the cockpit. So obviously, very important part of the kit. You have sprue J, which also includes this little sprue in the bag. These are the seekers for the Hellfires. I don't know why it was in the same bag as this, but whatever. Again, this is the cockpit sprue. So a couple things to point out here that I really like that MENG has done that the other option has not. They have these cockpit sort of side consoles as separate pieces, and you basically take this off and glue it onto this. What this enables you to do is if you really wanted to use, for example, a 3D cockpit, you can easily sand this flat without having to try to get into these angles and sides and try to clean it up in this weird kind of confined space. You can sand this smooth, glue this in here, glue your 3D cockpit directly onto it. Nice and easy. It's easy to sand these. These are completely flat, have easy access. Or if an aftermarket company was so inclined to, they may redesign side consoles that are more accurate or have better switchology on them, and then you could just essentially take that, print it, and then make it as a drop-in for this cockpit, which saves you having to cut apart the cockpit or even replace the whole tub. So I like that MENG has done that. Same with the sidewalls here. Obviously, those are usually separate parts anyway. This is the rear bulkhead. You can see, I believe it's still missing. My friend John, who is an ex Apache pilot, said something about vents up here that were part of kind of the environmental control system. I think this is missing those 2. It's like 2 circular vents that go there, and there's the little back wall that goes in the front cockpit. There's 2 vents that stick up out of that too. If you want to check this out, I believe there's a man named Simone on Facebook. He's in the Apache Builders group that has done a fantastic cockpit detail set for the Saraf and the Apache various versions. Write him a message and say that you need a couple of detail sets. I think he has them already on a print on demand service. But yeah, so quick look at these. There's nothing, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with these. These are just very basic kit parts. You paint them up, weather them up, I think they'll look fine. But it's nice that MENG has thought ahead of kind of the current direction of the market and what's available in aftermarket, and given you kind of this option to work with. The cockpit consoles, or the cockpit instrument panels, also are separate pieces as usual. You can see there, raised detail, switches, various items that I think there's decals for the screens, so you can add those. And then other than that, nothing else really to cover here. Cool, we'll be right back with the other sprues. I need to open some more bags, so be right back. All right, and we're back with sprue K. Something I really like to see is these very detailed molded windshield wipers with hinge detail, rivet detail on those. Very nice to see that. what really sucks is sometimes kits just do like a molded like blob of like a very simple wiper, and it's not very detailed to look at. I think that's a very intricate little detail. I think it's very important to have. So this is just various airframe details, also the mount for the gun, the actual gun itself. If you're so inclined, Reskit does an excellent Apache chain gun, so check out that option if you wish. Something that's not so great to see is this is the, I guess I think it's called a towel rack antenna that goes on the tail. This is broken. It was also broken in my other kit. It's just a long, thin piece of plastic that I'd probably chop off these mounting areas, glue them to the model, and make this out of brass wire or something. That would probably also help make it a little stronger. So yeah, I don't think there's any great way for them to mold this without it breaking. So unfortunately, that's something you'll probably want to check in your kit. These are the ammo belts for the gun. And then everything else is just little minor details and such that go around the airframe. This is the blade fold kit, or the blade fold supports. So should you wish to fold the rotors, I don't know if I've ever seen pictures of Israeli Apaches with the rotors folded, but I would guess they do fold. I just don't think they do it very often. I don't know. But yeah, so that's that. Also, these are the poly caps. I don't know what these go to specifically, but they are in the same bag as Sprue K. Next, we have Sprue L's. You get 2 of those. We'll take a look at one. So the Sprue L is obviously you have more additional random little details. You have the seat cushion parts, the wheels, nice molded flat spot on those. Again, should you wish, I believe Reskit, probably Armory also do nice replacements for Apache wheels. Just check to make sure you have the correct lug pattern for it. There's, I think, a couple of versions. This is the armored seat back that the seat cushion will fit into. Some other details, these are the pylon pieces, some more pieces for, I believe, the exhaust, tail rotor right here, and then, yeah, but a quick flyby of the parts for you, should you wish to take a look. Again, the common theme recurring here is everything cleanly molded, no flash, a couple of little broken parts like we had on the previous Sprue with that really long, thin antenna, but honestly, I think that's like like check your kit. It's probably going to be a thing that's going to be hard to avoid. So that is Sprue L. Next, we have a couple of exciting sprues. These are specific, obviously, to the Saraf. This, you get 2 Sprue Ps, which are the spike missiles. The launchers and I guess the boxes of the missiles are in halves, and then you will have to glue them together. And then you have obviously the launchers here. I think these are the fronts of the warheads. Or no, these are the fronts of the warheads. These just go in the back of the boxes, I think. But everything, again, cleanly molded. I don't know how these fit together. I don't know if there's going to be a seam on the middle in real life. Check your references there. But yeah, so 2 sprues of those. I believe that gets you 4 complete missiles. So that's enough for a full loadout on one side. These are the big drop tanks that are, again, specific to the Saraf, and these are the Israeli Apaches. So it's good to see that they've included those. These are the little radar domes that go on each of the stub wings. So you get 2 of those. Right there, they do have some molded rivet detail on the bottom there, so be careful cleaning up these sprue attachments. One of them happens to be really close to it, so be careful on that one. Pylon detail. Tanks have nice raised filler cap detail as well. Yeah, so that's the extent of the gray plastic. Now we'll take a look at the clear plastic. So the clear plastic is actually, this is really nice. It's bagged in this, and then it's wrapped in this sort of, it's like this weird like cross between like a plastic bag and saran wrap. So it helps keep everything sort of tightly held in here without letting it move around a little bit. Just be careful you don't rip stuff apart as you try to separate it. Okay, minor technical difficulties, but we're back. So this is obviously the clear sprue. And then once you do take it out, be very careful that you don't rip this off of the sprue. I just cut it off just because it was loose. The back had already come loose. So yeah, this is the kind of the unmoving side of the canopy, I think. They open all from the right. So this, obviously, if you can look, very cleanly molded. The framework is very, very fine. I don't think I would try to mask this freehand or like with a piece of tape and try to cut around this because the framework is so delicate. But luckily, they give you a pre-cut mask set that solves that problem. So obviously the sides here are concave and have a complex shape. So there is a little bit of distortion slightly in the edges, but the top, if you look, like for example, down in that piece right there, if you look at the detail on my finger, it's very, very clean. And then obviously up here, you can see all the raised detail in the framework, everything very nicely done there. And then here is the rest of the sprue. This is one of the doors. I think this is the rear door. This is the rear door. This is the front door, the hatch. Again, raised detail on the sides to match with the fuselage surrounds that these go into, and very, very nicely molded there. This is the glass partition that goes between the front and the rear cockpits right there. And then obviously all the little marker lights and landing lights and beacons and such that go around. I think this is part of the electro-optical sensor, also that piece right there. But yeah, so that kind of rounds out all the major plastic of this kit. Again, this is a limited edition of the Saraf kit from MENG. I don't think the base kit is not out yet in the US, but should be available very shortly. I think if you're going to build a Saraf, this is the best option. Pretty much out of the box, there's really nothing you need to add unless you want to add a 3D cockpit, I think. I will be back. I think I'm going to take a look. I have some parts that came from Decal for the Spike missiles. I do want to take a look at and compare those to see how they look with the kit ones. So be right back. Okay, so quick little bonus here to close this out. I think if you were going to build a Saraf, I mean, I'm a bit of an aftermarket connoisseur, as we shall say. Here's some options that you can consider. Here is obviously the Decal AH-64D Saraf decal sheet. So comes directly from Israel. So you have a sheet in here. I have a couple of sheets actually. So the instruction manual as well. I don't know if it actually comes with instructions. Yeah, there's no actual instructions in this, but the actual sheet, you can see, has a lot more detail on it as I try to get this backing off. We'll get this off. Oh, there we go. So you get 3 sheets in here, and then in here you get more markings that you can use on your Saraf kits. So obviously some of the flare markings, some more kind of detail for the rescue markings here in Hebrew. I was actually wondering if some of the markings on the actual aircraft were in Hebrew. So some of the aircraft badges as well. Looks like a kill marking of some sort. That's really cool to see. This is sheet 2 with more stenciling on it. So obviously most of it is in English, and I'm inclined to think that most of the actual stencils on the aircraft are English because Isracast, Decal being an Israeli company, I think the gentleman that owns it will have the best references available. So you can see most of that is readable. So that's very nice. A lot of tiny stencils. I'm not looking forward to applying all of those, but it should look the part. Again, more of those yellow markings for the rest of the aircraft as well. So that's really nice to see. Okay, next up you have the Reskit AH-64 Apache M230 chain gun. I have it for the parked position because it kind of cants up a little bit from the ground to kind of make sure the barrel doesn't hit anything, I'm guessing. While it's parked, I'm going to have the Apache obviously sitting on the ground instead of in flight, so this is a natural choice for that. This comes from Reskit in Ukraine. You can get this from them directly. You get instructions right here. These are in this little sort of folded booklet. Various parts. I think this is a 3D printed set, so a lot of framework you have to cut out here, the ammo chutes and stuff like that, and then how to put it together. There's a little sheet of decals here for various kind of stencil markings that go onto it. And then in this box, hopefully if I can get this out, you have one very tightly printed M230 chain gun. You can see kind of the ammo chute down there. You have the barrel, which does have a hollow end, which is nice to see. And most of the actual housing of the gun itself looks to be in one piece. So that'll be really nice, save you a lot of work kind of aligning and building everything and cleaning up seams. So I think this is kind of an essential upgrade there. I'll try to get multiple angles for you to look at. Yeah, you can see the carriage for the gun is all in one piece. Only thing you really need to glue on is the barrel that fits into that sort of key-shaped slot down in the middle there, and then add the ammo chutes in, and you're good to go. So I think this is well worth the money. This is the 3D printed cockpit detail set from Simone. These are the I guess the air conditioning or something vents for the back wall, I believe. So you have to do a little bit of trimming on the kit to get these to work. These are the hoses for it that come down the sides, but these are kind of the essential ones, kind of an iconic thing that goes on the back wall. This is one for the front cockpit. You can see the same vent that comes up kind of sort of by the back wall behind the seat. Some various details for here's the other side. Some various details for the combing as well that Simone has done. This comes as a set. You can email him or contact him via Facebook, and he should be able to set you up there. These are the ammo belts for the chain gun. This, even for me, I think might be a little too delicate to set up, but we'll see how this goes. These look fantastic. You have kind of individual rounds that you can fit into the belt, as well as kind of a already set up little, I guess a clip there of rounds that is ready to feed. So there's that. And then finally, this set, which I was going to use on my TACOM kit, but I might use on this kit now, is the ISRCast Spike missile set. So this is the data link pod that we looked at. Obviously, the kit comes with. You can kind of see it right there. And then this is the missile housing, or the missile rack. It shows 2, but I think it comes with 4. Again, there is a small sheet of decals with obviously the markings for them. There's I think these have actual text on them. Yeah, these are actually Hebrew stencils for the missiles themselves, which is nice because in the kit, they're kind of just a blob of text. So nice to see that. Instructions, and then the missiles themselves. So take a look at the missiles. This is actually nice. They come as single piece castings. So these parts are single piece cast. So that is nice. No need to clean those up right there. So you can cut those off, clean off the pour stub, and you're good to go. Some lenses for the front, which are clear. Those are nice. And then these are, I won't open this. This is the this is the data link pod. I think the launcher is on this side. Yeah, the launcher is right there. So the missiles fit onto these 4 posts right there. You can see this is the detail for the front of the missile where when you fire it, it shoots out of that kind of sacrificial block. And then, yeah, kind of get a sense of what details included in there. I will probably use this on the main kit. Just the detail seems sharper and just overall more refined. This is the instruction manual again. ISRCast Spike missile set shows how to, this is the cast resin piece. That's the 3D printed front. Fit those together on the rack like so. And then a little bit of detail showing how they fit onto the rack, how to wire the control unit. That's quite extensive. I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but that's something right there. A little bit of photograph, wow, on the actual control antenna that goes on the other wing, showing how to paint them. You have the operational missile as well as the inert training round, and then showing how they're mounted on the aircraft. So this is a fantastic set. This set plus the decal set are available directly from ISRCast, so search them up online. I thought I was going to be able to resist building this for a while, but seeing all these parts laid out, seeing the kit, how nice it is, this may actually make it onto the bench way sooner than I thought it would. which is fantastic because I have a bunch of other builds that are in progress. But anyway, that is MENG's new 1/35th scale AH-64D Saraf helicopter kit. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And once again, thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.